Welcome back, everyone. We're here again with Penn Tompkins, and we are going to make some good chicken sausage gumbo. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite things to eat, especially this time of year. So, Penn,
thank you, Jason. We mail ordered some cool weather this morning for this.
Thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. We're here to promote the World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off, sponsored by the Iberia Chamber of Commerce.
23rd annual?
That is the 23rd annual. I was 30 years old when they started this, you know.
Wow.
You can imagine.
So you are 53?
That is correct. We're going to say this morning that we're going to put together a basic gumbo, and for our audience in Acadiana, there are three things we don't talk about: religion, politics, and gumbo, because we could start a fight on any of those. So what you see here today will just be a basic gumbo. There'll be over 100 teams at the Gumbo Cook-Off.
Many variations?
Many, many variations. So we want to acknowledge that there's many ways to put a gumbo together, and a lot of that is sacred because it's been passed down to us from our families, many times our grandmothers, great-grandmothers, grandfathers. So, you know, we acknowledge there's many ways to put a gumbo together. We're going to start by browning some meat this morning. We've got some fresh sausage, and we've got a little andouille sausage.
Little smoke on there.
And we're going to put some in here. We're going to brown our meat. And I want to pay homage to some of the people that do brown chicken. I want to say today I've started a little bit. We started our roux, and I know at the Steamboat you probably know that your roux is your basic building block of the gumbo. If you don't have the roux right, you ruin the entire gumbo.
Yeah, it's probably one of the main, the main ingredient besides your stock.
At the Gumbo Cook-Off, which will be Sunday morning, the 14th, down in New Iberia, they have a shotgun start at 6 o'clock. And at that time, people can light their fires, and the first thing most teams do is to start cooking their roux.
Yes, sir.
Invariably, sometimes the smell of burnt roux will waft across the tents, and you can tell that somebody was in a hurry.
Yeah.
So we want to acknowledge that you have to heat up your pot slowly. If you scorch your roux, you have to start over. So you're looking for a color that is acceptable to you.
And a really good roux takes a little bit of time to make.
It does.
It's not something you can rush. You can't rush it.
And you can't go answer the telephone. You have to stand there and stir it.
The difference between a good roux and a burnt roux is like that quick.
Yes, very quick.
Yeah.
In fact, Penn, I'm glad you mentioned that, because if you want to get in the Gumbo Cook-Off, you have to cook your roux on site?
You have to cook your roux on site. And that is one of the technical features that they're looking for, because there are a lot of good manufactured roux. We could go over to Piggly Wiggly and go down the aisle where the flowers are, and there are several brands of very good roux. And if you're an amateur cook, we recommend that you use that to start with, and because it's very expensive to ruin some meat with a bad roux.
Yes.
Right.
And if you're an amateur, you may not even know you burnt your roux until you taste it.
Until it's too late, that's right.
Well, like Penn has mentioned, all the ingredients that he'll be using here today can be found at your local Piggly Wiggly stores here in Opelousas, with 2 locations to serve you.
8410 Highway 182 North, or 1305 Heather Drive.
Yes. Come by either location, pick up all your fresh ingredients and nice sausage, and if you don't want to make a roux, you can pick it up your roux.
One of the things that we did this morning, we'll show a little bit later, but we've gone ahead and boiled a chicken and made a stock. And many of the teams will have a stock, and they do allow you to bring a stock that's pre-made to the Gumbo Cook-Off.
And that's key, because some recipes for a good stock can be a 12-hour stock. So, you know, you kind of have to allow that, you know. We
were talking off camera a few minutes ago, and Jason shared that he had cooked a gumbo off-premise from his site, but at his camp, and he mentioned smoking the bones. So share a little bit about what you did with that.
Well, we all have different people around, you know, the area who debone turkeys, and they give us, you know, some of their carcasses and stuff if they, like, certain times of year, Thanksgiving, things like that. Or I've also purchased like chicken backs one time from Piggly Wiggly, and there's a difference between just boiling bones and then roasting them first and then boiling them. It's a completely different stock.
That's right.
And you know, I prefer the roasted bone stock. They're both really, really good, but there is a unique difference, and I just prefer it, and it makes a killer gumbo. So if you ever had, like maybe turkey for Thanksgiving this year, if you have some leftover turkey, whenever you carve your turkey, don't throw the bones away, don't discard them, put them in a pot, you know, maybe the next day or something, and boil it. Turkey gumbo, leftover roast turkey, makes the best gumbo the next day after Thanksgiving.
It really does.
It really does.
I like the taste of a turkey gumbo. One of the things I was going to say about the Chambers Cookoff, which is in its 23rd year, is that the teams, if there's 100 teams down there, there'll be different teams that'll have different stocks. So at home, think about if your gumbo is not as rich as it would be if you go to the Steamboat restaurant, is that they're going to use a stock. They're not going to pour just water in the gumbo.
The difference between a gumbo started with a stock and with water, plain water, is like night and day.
Mm-hmm. Now I'll share a little secret on this one. I boiled the chicken whole. I like to use all the parts. I like to add some extra gizzards in mine to bring out some additional flavors that are there. Also, I like to add some vegetables to mine. I won't put it in the gumbo, but I have a strained stock here, but you'll see
Mirepoix.
That's
called
correct.
Mirepoix. Onions, carrots, and celery.
Well, can they still get into the cook-off, or?
It is difficult to get a spot. Typically, there's a waiting list year to year. Iberia Medical Center, my employer, has been there since the inception. They've been there all 23 years. So,
how many spots do y'all take each year? How many teams will y'all take?
There will be. Last year there was 110 teams. So it went all the way down Bouligny Plaza, down the backside by the bayou,
Very difficult
and then
to judge.
up another street. And they do a good job administering.
Yeah.
That's good.
They'll draw 30,000 people.
Oh, I believe it.
Downtown.
That many teams?
We're fortunate here on this weekend to have several events.
Right.
You brought up that.
Yeah. Well, Penn, we're going to take a short break and come back to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with more with Penn and Gumbo.